Rasulil Kareem. Respected elders and brothers, in order for a person to excel and progress in deen, he needs a hunger, which is known as talab. Person has to have a zeal, motivation. If that essential ingredient is missing, then Allah Ta'ala says, "Anulzimukumuha wa antum laha karihun." Do you think that you're going to be dismissive, not bothered, and I'm going to toss it upon you? That is not going to happen. Many times it happens that there's a very neck family of ulama, and the children who are born into that family, they also, mashallah, become ulama, and it's like their destiny. Sometimes a bad apple comes along, and he says, I didn't choose a dini life, the dini life chose me. So he rebels. So what happens is, despite being from a very godly environment, in our language we say, wali ke pet se shaitan. Now from a good household comes somebody who is disobedient, rebellious. Why? Because he was lacking that essential ingredient. So it's not enough for us to be born into a neck family, or to be living in a godly environment, or to have the best madrasas and best ustads and best speakers. That's not good enough for us as individuals. It's good enough for those people who are making the effort. They're going to get straight into Jannat. The ulama kiram, the ahlullah who make the effort, they made. But for me to benefit from them, I need the essential ingredient of talab. And if I don't have talab, I need to cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yesterday when Hazrat Molana Shahid did the bayan, he said that people don't even long for Ramadan. There's no preparation, there's no longing. In fact, people are like panicking as it's coming closer. People are checking on the net what to eat to not feel hungry. Carbs and proteins and this and that. People always ask, oh, so what can I have in Sahri so I don't feel hungry? I said, it doesn't matter what you eat or what you don't eat. Come 10 o'clock, you will feel hungry. Why? That's not hunger, that's your nafs. That's your shaitan inside you saying, Allah, where's my tea gone? Allah, you didn't give me breakfast today. So even if you eat right to the top, you will still feel hungry. And that's what's expected. So anyway, that's a different topic for a different Ramadan. So we all need talab. This is why our ulama kiram say, Allah Ta'ala said, talab mangte raho. Keep asking zeal, motivation from Allah, no matter how much you progress. And the elders, they say that pehle din ka shauq, e Allah hamare andar baqi rakh. Allah, give me the enthusiasm that I had on day one. You know, Ramzan's coming up now. Look in your house, your children, nephews, nieces, young brothers, sisters, with what zeal they grab the tasbih and they wake up for Sahri. And if the parents don't wake them up, they kick off. With what zeal they keep rosas and they come to the masjid. We have to try to create that childhood zeal again. No matter how old we get, or no matter how purana we get, or no matter how much we increase in terms of knowledge, if that essential ingredient goes, then that is the day that our downfall starts. As soon as the talab, the yearning, the shauq, the zeal, the feeling that I am in need of this. You know, when we first start going in Jamaat, we want to learn everything. So we're there with our notebooks, listening dead attentively. I want to hear this properly. Why? So that I can reproduce the adab-e-gasht. So I can reproduce the bayan. But then a person learns, and he's been doing it. He knows how to do adab-e-gasht and bayan and stuff. So now he's not listening as attentively. He's got his phone out. Or he's just yawning away. He's playing with his beard. Why? Because he doesn't need to learn anymore. No, you don't need to learn anymore. But you still need to gain the nuraniyat. And if you're not gaining that nuraniyat, that means that the zeal has gone. that means you're in trouble. That means that your deen has become a formality. You made your deen into football. Deen is a zimmedari. Allah Ta'ala will ask us all. You lived in the double area, 2023, in that masjid. Why did you not shoulder the responsibility as you were supposed to? Why was your 40 days hit and miss? Why was your 3 days hit and miss? Why was your gush like this? I and all of us will be asked. That's why our elders, they say, to be given the tawfiq to do the effort of dawat, it's a great ni'mat, but it's also a great ibtila and a great test. Why? Because the person who's doing it, alhamdulillah, is getting all the reward, and he's on a good one. But how well am I executing my duties? One time, we were in Jamaat, and one brother was put into istiqbal. So, in fact, he was in this masjid. So that brother, he was not the, run-of-the-mill formality. Okay, I'm on istiqbal, let me just finish my Quran tilawat or whatever. You know what he did on that day? On that day, the Darmiyani talk expanded from this to this much. And all the oldies who were sitting at the back, who every week they have their parliament second bayan going on there, they all came in the bayan as well. Why? Because he was chasing each and every one of them. He was saying to him, Chacha, yahan hu baitha la. What are you sitting here? You're sitting here, he goes, I'm doing zikr. You're doing zikr for yourself? Go in there, you'll get millions of times more reward. It's for the ummah. So he felt a bit embarrassed. He goes, chalo. The another Chacha said, oh, okay, chalo, pisab karne, hoon bhi aun. Yeah? Like that. Because he had the fikr, he got everyone. And because of that, the Jamaat that had gone in Gasht, every person that they met, the mutakallim said, come on, talk going on. And he came, and the istiqbal guy grabbed him. And that day it was like, and I said, well, this is what you call Gasht. But when it becomes a formality, then not only are we not getting the results, but we are also incurring a great wrath upon ourselves, which we have to fear. It's a responsibility. There was once a person, he went in a bayan, and Molana, in the bayan, spoke such words that the person felt that in these hundreds of people, it's just me and Molana is just talking to me directly. And his heart melted, and his eyes flowed, and there and then he did a proper full tawbah. Not like our kind of tawbah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, and then go back to it. Proper changes his life there and then. And then, after that, he went out in the path of Allah and making mujahada and everything. Revolutionized his life. So then he was always on the lookout for that Molana. So that when he found the Molana a few years later, when his life was completely changed, he thanked the Molana and he said, Molana, what dua did you make on that day that I felt you were just talking to me? Every single point was applicable to me. And my heart just melted. And the penny just dropped for me. And it was a life changer for me. So Maulana Sahib said to him, he said, it wasn't the dua that I made only, it was the dua that you made. What dua did you make? So he said, when I sat down, I made dua that, Allah, this Maulana is going to do bayan. I've not heard bayan for a long time. Allah, make him say things that are applicable to me. Maulana Sahib said, every single time I do a bayan, I make dua, Allah, make me say things which are applicable to me and to the majma. So I do that in every single one of my bayans. But on that one occasion, what happened is, I had made the dua and you had made the dua as well, and the connection came from both sides. The talab was there from you. Otherwise, I make the dua all the time, and not everyone benefits. But because the talab was from you, the connection came from both sides, that's why it benefited. So respected brothers and elders, the whole point of this effort is that we see a change coming in our lives. Hazrat Hafiz Patel Sahib Rahmatullah used to get angry, and he used to say, and I'll repeat his exact words, and those of you who have heard these words it will bring back the memories. He used to say, he used to bang his hand, slap his hand onto his palm like this, and he used to say, तूने तो चिल्ले पे चिल्ले लगाए, तेरी जिंदगी में तब्दीली क्यों नहीं आई? तूने तो चिल्ले पे चिल्ले लगाए, तेरी जिंदगी में तब्दीली क्यों नहीं आई? I used to grab the mic really close. Meaning, as we increase in this effort, the qualities should be coming into us. If qualities are not coming, if somebody comes to me now and says, there's a taqaza, tomorrow, 40 days Jama going, 4 months Jama going, are you ready? If I do not think, yes, I'm ready, straight away in my heart, if I don't think, yeah, I should go, then there's something wrong. Son, if I'm thinking, no, I've just spent 40 days, I've my job and all this, that means the iman has not been made. If I'm thinking, what about my wife and my kids and my boss and this and that? We're lucky that now we live in an era where the elders have gone soft on us, because we've gone soft. There was a time when the elders would tell people to leave their jobs. Now people don't have the capacity. And they would leave their jobs and they would go. One of our elders in Bolton, Allah Ta'ala grant him a long life, he's close to 90s now. He said 9 children. And he goes, I was told to go 4 months. And he goes, I went. Wife's ill, kids are ill, this, that. Then in the path of Allah, they had some trouble there, I think. So I'm like listening to him, I'm panicking as he's telling me 50 years on. And I go, how did it happen? Like I know. Allah did it. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, we take Allah out of the equation, innit? With everything. But they had Allah. Why? Because they left everything to Allah. One of our elders, they say, we set everything, what do you call it? We're like control freaks, perfectionists. Want everything in place, then I'll go for my 2 days. One of the elders say, you never give a chance to Allah to do something. All dependent on yourself. And there was a time when people would, in dire straits, conditions, mashura was made, they went in the path of Allah. Knowing full well that the elders used to say, even if there are riots going on, unrest, and a person left his family on the footpath and he went in the path of Allah, even then Allah Ta'ala would protect that family and would provide for that family. A person has to have that yaqeen. So we have to analyze ourselves. Which tabligh am I doing? Is it just ha, he, yeah, I'm going, I've got my badge? Or is there a revolution coming into? Sabit Banani Rahmatullah said, 20 years, Nawafil were a burden for me. These buzugs, they were not born with a tasbih in their hand. Every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. So Sabit Banani, a big buzug, he said, 20 years, Nafil namaz for me was cumbersome. Boj tha. Because I persevered. Because Allah Ta'ala does that. If a person is like, spends a bit of time in Jamaat and then he's loving it and he wants to stay in masjid all the time and I'm ready 1 year, every year and all this, wait, Josh hai. Calm down. Get married, have kids, get a job, then come back. But when a person doesn't want to do it, then he does it. That's mujahada. So he goes, 20 years I persevered. What happened after that? Because then Allah Ta'ala gave me a flavor, a relish. Because then for the rest of my years, I did it with relish and an enjoyment. But I had to persevere for 20 years. So Allah Ta'ala give me, I don't know where I started, I don't know where I'm ending, but somebody with zeal in the majma. So Allah Ta'ala grant us all the tawfiq, grant me, all of us the tawfiq to take not just tabligh, but deen as a responsibility. We're only here once. We don't know how long we're here for. We've come with a transit visa from Allah. Allah knows who's making a mockery of the deen, who's taking it seriously, who's ducking and diving. As one of our Molana Ibrahim Sahib says, ये काम कुर्बानी से चलता है, चालाकी से नहीं चलता. Being sly, being shrewd, ducking, diving, that's not tabligh. Putting yourself forward. Look at the Sirat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the battles where your life was at stake. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would be at the forefront, and he would send his family at the forefront. Jafar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Ali radiallahu ta'ala, he put them forward. Hamza radiallahu put them forward, and he put himself forward. Sahaba kiram, they say, if the battle became very gruesome, very hard, we would find Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and fight behind him, because we knew that he's like our shield. He's the bravest, and he was at the forefront. So we take this as a responsibility, brothers. I take it seriously. And steer the ship. Our elders, alhamdulillah, have put the ship, especially in Bolton, alhamdulillah. Compared to other times you go, you'll find, alhamdulillah. But then you see, in many masjids, the ship is steered. You go back to a masjid after a few years and you think, what have you done? You made a picture of the effort. Why? Because some of the elders passed away, and the guys thereafter, ha, he, and everything goes, and anything goes, and what kind of tabligh is this? One Jamaat came many years ago from India, and they were in Ar-Rahman Masjid, the old Ar-Rahman Masjid. I remember walking in, it was like a hospital ward. They were old men, all of them were ill. Hafiz Bendik Sahib, Damat Barakat's father was in that Jamaat. He joined them. He was about 90 years old. People were like 2-3 people on each person giving them medicine in the Jamaat Khana after Asr Namaz. And yet they were striving. Jamaat used to come from Pakistan. You knew the Jamaat would be of a high caliber. You knew that you would benefit from that Jamaat. Nowadays, you know, like somebody mentioned the other day, pehle Jamaat ko dekhna padega bhai. It doesn't happen that a Jamaat comes and we're going to benefit from the Jamaat. Why? Because you've got to look at the quality now. Before it was like a Jamaat came, that was it, boom, finished. You knew you were going to benefit from them. Why? Because they had come with Qurbani and they were spending their time well. So Allah Ta'ala give me and all of us a tawfiq to spend our time correctly and to make Qurbani and to strive out in the path of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It's not necessary that we give 4 months once in a lifetime. It's not necessary that we only give 40 days in a year. Some years a person might be only able to give 40 days. That's a bare minimum. But some years it might be possible for him to go for 40 days twice, 3 times. But he has to show that talab and ask for that tawfiq from Allah. We're struggling with our chillus. Allah, who to you? I thought you went for 40 days. I'm doing daftari and this. Come on. So Allah Ta'ala give me and all of the tawfiq to take the effort seriously and to make intention, inshallah. Month of Ramadan is coming up as well, inshallah. Make intention, brothers, inshallah. 10 days, Jamaat will be going. A 40-day Jamaat, mashallah, from our masjid has already left. Some brothers joining that 40-day Jamaat as well, inshallah. Make intention to go in this week to join that Jamaat, inshallah. They've gone to London.